Hello, I'm Lewis, and I'm here to narrate this video titled The Secret Heir to Brazil's Throne. Bertrand of Orléans-Braganza, born 2 February 1941, is the current head of the Vassouras branch of the House of Orléans-Braganza and one of the two principal claimants to the defunct Brazilian throne. He assumed the position on 15 July 2022, following the death of his elder brother, Luiz of Orléans-Braganza. The Vassouras branch asserts its claim in opposition to the Petrópolis branch of the Orléans-Braganzas, headed by Pedro Carlos. Both Bertrand and Pedro Carlos are great-grandsons of Isabel, Princess Imperial of Brazil, daughter and heir of Emperor Pedro II of the House of Braganza. The rivalry between the two branches stems from a dynastic dispute involving their fathers, who were first cousins, regarding the validity of renunciations and succession rights within the former Brazilian imperial family. Born in Mandeloup-la-Napoule, France, the third child of Pedro Henrique of Orléans-Braganza and Princess Maria Elizabeth of Bavaria. He was the third and last child of the couple to be born abroad and came to Brazil at the age of 4. In Brazil, he graduated in law from the University of São Paulo and became a student of Plínio Correia de Oliveira and a devoted member of tradition, family and property, and later the Instituto Plínio Correia de Oliveira. Prince Bertrand is an avid traditionalist, conservative, anti-communist, and outspoken advocate of right-wing Christian policies. Chaste, the prince succeeded his brother as head of the Imperial House of Brazil and is the main activist and spokesperson for the restoration of the monarchy, having gained prominence in the national media and on occasion in the international media. He is frequently invited by public and private institutions, including the federal government, to participate in official events, as well as to participate in monarchic events and meetings, and to travel the country campaigning for the monarchy. Although Prince Bertrand and Prince Pedro Carlos are great-grandsons of Emperor Pedro II of Brazil, of the House of Braganza, they disputed the leadership of the Brazilian imperial family due to a dynastic dispute regarding their parents, who were cousins. A member of the Brazilian imperial house, Prince Bertrand is closely related to the House of Braganza and the House of Orléans, Orleanist claimants, both through his paternal lineage, and with the House of Wittelsbach through his maternal lineage. He is the great-grandson of Isabel, Princess Imperial of Brazil, and King Ludwig III of Bavaria. A young man's unexpected claim to the Brazilian throne began with a mysterious past. The third son of Pedro Henrique of Orléans-Braganza and Princess Maria Elizabeth of Bavaria, his elder brothers are, in order, Luiz of Orléans-Braganza, who claimed to be head of the Brazilian imperial family until 2022, and Eudes of Orléans-Braganza, who renounced his dynastic rights to the Brazilian throne in order to marry a commoner. As with his two elder brothers, Bertrand was born in southern France, 1941, even though the exile imposed on the family had already been revoked in 1920 due to the Second World War. He came to Brazil after the end of the conflict. In Brazil, the family settled first in the Grão-Pará Palace in the state of Rio de Janeiro, where he carried out part of his secondary studies in the Jesuit Street Ignatius College. Later, his family moved to Paraná, where his father bought a farm and Bertrand spent his childhood. When he was 18 years old, he went to São Paulo, where he achieved a bachelor's degree in law from the Faculty of Law of the University of São Paulo in 1964. He still lives in São Paulo. A young man's claim to the Brazilian throne sparks a whirlwind of intrigue and suspicion. From a very young age, he received Catholic formation, being guided by his father to the taste for the doctrinal study and the analysis of the national and international events. He participated with enthusiasm in the academic banks of the ideological struggles that marked Brazil in the first half of the 60s. His formation was completed with frequent trips to Europe, one of which took place during the entire first session of the Second Vatican Council, when he took close contact with the Catholic intelligentsia to Rome for the great event. A civil pilot, he is a reservist of the Brazilian Air Force. Bertrand is a traditionalist Catholic and a member of Tradition, Family and Property, of Traditionalist Catholic Inspiration, founded and directed by the intellectual leader Plínio Correia de Oliveira until his death. There it diffuses from the Catholic and monarchical ideals seen by him as distinct and harmonious facets of the same ideal. His older brother, Luiz, was also part of the organization. After a spin-off occurred in the entity, he and his brother began to collaborate with members linked to the Plinio Correia de Oliveira Institute, IPCO, and the Founders Association. Besides Portuguese, his native language, Bertrand is fluent in French and Spanish. A mysterious claim of royal lineage ignited a decades-long legal battle within Brazil's elite circles. He is not married and has no issue. Both he and his elder brother, Luiz, were engaged in monarchist proselytism in Brazil. They both played main roles during the campaign for the 1993 plebiscite, which represented the hitherto only real opportunity for a return of the monarchy since the proclamation of the Republic in 1889. In it, the people were asked to choose which form of government, presidential or parliamentary, and which form of state organization, republic or constitutional monarchy, Brazil should have. The monarchist cause was not successful, receiving only 13.4% of the vote. A forgotten lineage and a hidden claim to the Brazilian throne ignite a thrilling mystery. In recent years, Bertrand is coordinator and spokesman of the movement Paz no Campo, Peace in the Fields, and has traveled all over Brazil lecturing for farmers and entrepreneurs in defense of private property and free enterprise. As the activist and spokesman of the Brazilian Imperial House for the restoration of the monarchy, Bertrand has gained prominence in the national media and on some occasions, international media, with the rise and spread of monarchist movements throughout the country. He participates annually in public meetings with monarchists, in addition to attending other meetings and conducting lectures, often at the invitation of private institutions, municipal governments and legislative assemblies, mainly for public events related to Brazil's monarchical past. In 2016, he gave an interview to Mariana Godoy on her program on Read TV, gaining notoriety with the general public. On 22 September 2017, Bertrand participated in the program The Noite com Danilo Gentili, currently the largest talk show in the country, breaking the program's record of audience. Despite the campaign, politically the monarchist movement is still small, with 11% of support among the population, according to a survey. A forgotten lineage and a contested claim ignite a dramatic quest for the Brazilian throne. Bertrand supports typically traditionalist Catholic ideas. He opposes same-sex marriage, favors the illegality of abortion, and is against the demarcation of indigenous territory in Brazil. He has also criticized the progressivism of Pope Francis, although he does recognize him as the legitimate pope. He is a climate change denialist and has published a book entitled Psicose Ambientalista, Environmentalist Psychosis, denouncing with what he calls the hoaxes created by radical environmentalists and by eco-terrorists. As head of the Brazilian imperial family, Bertrand claims the following positions: Grand Master and Sovereign of the Imperial Order of Our Lord Jesus Christ, Grand Master and Sovereign of the Imperial Order of Saint Benedict of Avis, Grand Master and Sovereign of the Imperial Order of Saint James of the Sword, Grand Master and Sovereign of the Imperial Order of the Cross, Grand Master and Sovereign of the Imperial Order of Emperor Pedro I, Grand Master and Sovereign of the Imperial Order of the Rose. Bertrand has also received other honors: Bailiff, Grand Cross of Honor and Devotion of the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, Knight of the Order of the Holy Sepulchre, Bailiff, Grand Cross of the Sacred Military Constantinian Order of St. George, Grand Cross of the Order of the Immaculate Conception of Villa Viçosa, Medal of the Pacifier Duke of Caxias, 2009, Grand Cross of the Order of Military Judicial Merit, 2009, Commander of the Order of Military Merit, 2013, Medal of Tiradentes, 2018, Doctor Honoris Causa from Universidade Santa Ursula, 2025. A forgotten lineage and a hidden claim sparked a decades-long mystery within Brazil's royal family.